Back on NEC Football Media Day, we are now joined by the Merrimack Warriors. Head coach Dan Curran is in his 9th season. Defensive lineman Cory Hagerman and H-back Tyler Roberts also sitting in with us. Now, during the spring season, Merrimack was in its first season of official NEC play. They won't be eligible to win a title till 2023, but we are so glad to have them as part of this conference. And Dan, I guess my first question to you is, how was your first experience, unique as it was, as a full-fledged NEC member during 2021?
Well, it was definitely unique for sure. That was probably the best word to describe it. I mean, I think the big thing is, after such a long layoff, to give the student athletes the opportunity at least to compete, right? They had such a long layoff from the 19th season. So I was happy for them in that regard. And I think the best thing too is, even with all the uncertainty and, whether it be injuries or the testing protocol, having not a lot of continuity in and out of the lineup, the best thing is those live game day reps. That's the best way to develop guys. And then the other piece, for coaches, it's a great way to evaluate guys too. Continue to develop and create depth and competition within the program. So it was great. And I think for us, regardless of whether we're eligible for, the NCAA playoffs or not, we may not be in the stands, but we're keeping score, and we know what our win-loss record is in the conference, and we have a standard that we're looking to uphold, and we're excited about the opportunity that's coming up this fall.
Cory, you were a second-team All-NEC pick on that defensive line. Obviously, took a lot of pride last year. You're talking about a defense that was second in the league in scoring, giving up less than 15 points a game. What was the key to your success with the defensive unit, and do you think it'll be much difficulty repeating it?
Yeah, I mean, we have a good depth on the defense, which I think really helps us. All around, we're a pretty well-sound team, and everyone's mostly on the same page for the most part. When we're getting our calls in, we try to get them in quick. We try to get set up nicely, and yeah, I think we can repeat the same performances we had during the spring, and I think we can do it successfully all over again.
Tyler, we said earlier, you're an H-back on this squad. H-backs do a lot of different things. I know you did catch a touchdown pass last year. Coach is on the line, so I know you're going to ask him to throw more passes to you. I get that. But short of doing that for you, let me ask you about the challenges of being an H-back. What do you enjoy most about the flexibility of the position, and what do you think you still need to work on?
Yeah, I just think for us, you kind of have to know the whole offense, right? So there's the O-line needs to know part, receivers need to know part, but we need to kind of know it all. We're in the run game, we're in the pass game. I think as a tight end, aside from the quarterbacks, we probably need to know the offense just as well as anyone else on the team. So there's a challenge that comes in that. Obviously, you got to stay locked in all our meetings. And then during practice too, right? We get reps with the O-line, we get reps with the receivers. It just obviously a lot of work goes in as an H-back tight end.
Where would you like to see the growth in this offense? I mean, I know Coach is probably in his laboratory diagramming some plays and stuff that he'd like to bring out, but where do you think you guys can take that next step offensively?
I think we got some guys on offense. We were young in the spring, but like Coach said, those reps we got in the spring were huge, getting guys some experience, and then we're returning everyone, so all the experience, I think it'll really pan out, especially up front on our O-line where we were kind of young in the spring.
I want to flip it back to defense. And again, Coach Curran, McKenzie and Holden have done a terrific job back there in your secondary. Turnovers are always something that they say they come in bunches. A lot of times they're lucky. But do you do something specifically with your secondary to help them, get after things?
Well, they always say, the secondary's best friend is a great pass rush, right?
Yeah.
So, to me, whether you're talking about the offense or the defense, everything starts and ends up front. And we have a lot of confidence in our defensive line. You mentioned Cory and the success he's had the last 2 years, whether it was the 19 season or the shortened spring season. And his sidekick on the other side, Lennon, had a tremendous year as well. He's an all-conference guy too. And we have 2 young guys in the middle and a bunch of other guys that we think, again, Cory mentioned, we have some depth on that group too. If that group can continue to take a step forward and do what they did last year, but even on a more consistent level, I think it's going to make our already strong defensive backfield even better. And to me, I think, you look at the experience we have in the back end even after losing Joe Van Grant to the draft and him signing with the Rams, you have Caleb Holden coming back, who started a million games. You got Darren McKenzie, who's on everybody's radar to play at the next level. And you have a kid like Maverick Gamble, who's a really good player and a guy that fits our scheme well, has played a bunch. And even a guy like Anthony Witherstone, who has really grown in this program. We do a lot of nickel and dime stuff on third down, and he's a big, long corner that comes in, and he's a really good technician. And with all that experience back there with, sprinkling in some young guys, we think both our defensive line and our back end are going to be strong suits for our defense this year. But what I'm looking for is for those guys is to even be more consistent week in, week out, because I think they're capable of it.
Cory, when you hear the coach talk like he does about the trenches, and football guys all know, it always starts there. So I know that's no surprise to you, but how much do you enjoy hearing your coach talk about the focus is going to be on up front? The onus is going to be on the guys right up there on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I mean, he's fully right with that. We like to think that we can always make a big difference up front, whether it starts there at the beginning of the game. We have to set the tone. So if we set the tone early and often, I think we can find more success on defense as a whole and hopefully get more turnovers.
Back to the offense, and Tyler, Clay Legault was also a second-team All-NEC selection. You talked about doing some of the meetings with the offensive line. Can you talk also about their mentality? Because you are a pseudo-offensive lineman to some degree. What is coming out of that room right now? What kind of energy, what kind of passion is coming from those guys?
Yeah, obviously, I think everyone up front especially is excited to kind of prove ourselves. We went 0-3 in the spring, and we were really young up front, like I said. So, for us in the O-line room, I think we really focus on winning our matchups in the run game, everybody being in the same call, on the same page, really huge for us. And then, like Clay, all those guys, we do a great job setting the tone in the run game early and often, like Cory said.
Final question is for Coach. What is the next step or the next thing on your checklist as you enter your second season of NEC play that you want to accomplish?
Well, to me, the thing we always measure ourselves against is our own standard. And if you go back to last year at this very time, I said the same exact thing. And, I thought in 19, we built a lot of really good momentum. And these guys did a great job in their first year in Division I. And, I think the consistency piece and the continuity is going to be huge. And we need to get better at that from what we did in the spring and the shortened season. And to me, the keys are going to be certainly creating more depth at every position, which I think we've done that the last two recruiting classes and developing those young guys. But it really is going to be continuing to get that old line back on track. At 19, you have a kid like Sam Cooper go and sign with the Ravens. You have a guy like Eric Brown go and sign in the CFL. And then you lose a really, really steady guy in Stevie Liakos. We had some young guys playing the spring, but they got some valuable reps. We added a key transfer and a couple other guys that have been in the program that have really developed. I'm expecting that group as a whole to take a huge step forward. And then the last piece is figuring out the quarterback situation. We had some young guys last year. We had 5 guys, 2 redshirt freshmen and 3 true freshmen battling for the job. All of them have great intangibles, all great teammates, hard workers, and all of them bring a unique skill set. But whether it was injuries, COVID protocol, or just trying to find that right guy, when you play 3 different Qs in 3 games, that's not great continuity. But some of those guys get valuable reps and have taken a huge step forward. And then we added a grad transfer from Louisiana Tech and another guy that we got at media that wasn't eligible in the spring, along with another young high school guy. So there's going to be plenty of competition at both those spots. And to me, how those positional groups go will have a huge impact on where we go as a team this fall. And I'm excited to see where this thing goes.
Coach, we will let you get back to work. I know you got a lot on your plate. We appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck, Cory and Tyler as well. The Sacred Heart Pioneers, well, they're coming up next. But first, we've got to talk about somebody who has grabbed the national spotlight.